Welcome to Harbor Spaces, where refuge meets community. Harbor Spaces is more than just a name. It's a sanctuary, a place of shelter, safety, and belonging. It's where we come to anchor ourselves, reflect deeply, and reconnect with what truly matters. Inspired by the rhythm of nature and the ever-flowing waters, Harbor Spaces offers a grounding presence in a fast-moving world. Here, we revive the lost art of community, communication, cooperation, and collaboration. This is a space for seekers, those who long for peace, purpose, and authentic connection. So take a deep breath, settle in, and welcome home. This is Harbor Spaces. Oh, thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Harbor Spaces. Today, we have the honor of welcoming Jackie Krawczak. Jackie is a highly respected leader, speaker, and consultant with a wealth of experience in community development, leadership, and communication. Jackie is the president of her own company. She's a former CEO of Alpena Chamber of Commerce. She is on the board of directors for the Rotary Club, Industrial Arts Institute, and the Sunset Project. She is also a trustee for the Alpena Community College Foundation and Alpena Public School Boards. Jackie is a journalist that holds a master's in organizational communication from Central Michigan University and a bachelor's in communication from Saginaw Valley State. Her impact has been widely recognized, including Outstanding Young Michigander, Rotarian of the Year, and a Michigan Chamber Professional. Jackie was even awarded the key to the city of Alpena. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything, but yeah.
Passion for leadership, community engagement, and organizational success makes her a force for change. She is a visionary thinker with a deep commitment to building a sustainable and economical future. Today, we're diving into her insights on what it takes to elevate our community, create lasting change, and keep Alpena thriving. So Jackie, welcome to Harbor Spaces.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. So thank you for all your accolades and contributions to our community. It is like an honor to have you here and to have you be part of our community. Part of what Harbor Spaces is to allow you to be seen and heard from the perspective of your own narrative and shine your own light on who you are and what your achievements are in this life and what you see for Alpena community. So with that being said, and for my little introduction of you, could you tell the community who you are, I guess based on who they see you, is like your work and that sort of achievements?
This is a really hard question for me, and I'll say a few things. So one, there's a statistic that I teach in a lot of my workshops about when I teach emotional intelligence, and it's about self-awareness. And the statistic says that 90% of adults believe that they're like accurately self-aware, but the actual statistic is only 10% are.
Oh.
So yeah, so this question, and I'm super insightful and like I'm always thinking about, is this how people see me? And I, all that stuff, probably to a fault. And the way that people see me does not always match with how I see myself, because I've also struggled with some mental health issues, depression, all that stuff.
As we all have.
Yes. So when, I think a lot about this question, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure, is it how I think they see me or how they tell me they see me? And do I believe it or not? So it's complicated. Anyway, to answer your question then, the community tends to see me and vocalize this to me. As a leader, I've been called, and I don't necessarily like these nicknames, but I've been called the Queen of Alpena, the most important woman in Northeast Michigan, a mover and a shaker, things like that. So, and I believe fine, but that's not why I do what I do to get that sort of accolade.
Right.
It's sort of, I think I'm more humble than that. I hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, are we who we think we are, or are we who we think that we are?
Right.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So
yeah.
Community may call you out as whatever they call you out as, but then explain to me who you see yourself as. Who is Jackie to Jackie?
The most base level is I'm just a human trying to do the best I can for the community and for myself and my friends and family with what I have available, and just keep getting better. So that's like my most basic. But who am I? I do like to believe that I'm an excellent communicator and
they call you
go-to resource on leadership.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, how long have you been in Alpena? All your life, or?
Yeah. So I was, we're going to get technical. I was born in Metz, which is near Posen.
Wow.
Yes, moved to Alpena when I was 4. And then
can you be born in Metz?
Well, I mean, I was actually born in Alpena, but lived in Metz at the time in the cow barn. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Actually lived in Alpena, went away for undergrad and graduate school, and then came back thinking I would not stay more than 2 years. And then here I am 17 years later, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What keeps you here?
Born and love it. I love the people, love the opportunities that are here. And it's funny because most people would probably disagree with that and say, there's no opportunity.
Right.
I've created this incredible opportunity for myself, and it's out of Northeast Michigan. And I love that people are so supportive of what I'm doing and trying to do.
Can you explain a little bit about what your company is so that I can understand who and what you represent?
Yeah, for sure. So I started my company as just leadership training. Came out of working at the Chamber of Commerce. I saw a lot of different businesses and how they were led. And I saw some really great leadership and some really terrible leadership. And it was clear what happens under each of those, like high turnover and disgruntled employees, and they're maybe not as successful at their bottom line as they want to be. Whereas on the other hand, if you have incredible leadership, it's a growing business, low turnover, want to work there, that sort of thing. So it grew out of the combination of seeing that, but then also being in a leadership role, and I was good at it. So I realized I could get paid to help other people do that. Yeah. But then when I started the business, which was probably 11 years ago now, I quickly realized that it's not just about training leaders, it's also about training the whole team as to how to be good team members. Sure. Because a leader can do a lot, but if you have a team member who's just not going to cooperate, you have to at some level teach them how to be good team members as well. So that's what I do now for businesses. Sure.
So on a basic level, it's about communication.
Absolutely.
And self-awareness and maybe even participation. I mean, you can't be part of something and not be involved, or at least want to succeed at it, or you're just bringing the whole team down, whether you're a good leader or somebody who's following.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for that work, because I mean, that's not just in business, that's in life in general. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we all need to just kind of raise our vibration a little bit, get a little more involved, communicate better. I mean, I loved how much, studying you've done on communication, and then now teaching it to people. Really, that's one of the key things that I teach my children is, no, don't text, call. No, go look them in the eyes. Communication is not what we've came to,
No.
Make it.
Ineffective communication. So I have a bachelor's, master's degree in communication. It also has always come very naturally to me. So it took me a while to really understand why communication is such a problem in relationships and businesses and nonprofits, like any organizations. And then I realized, and I think we all do this, where if we're just naturally good at something, we just kind of assume everyone else is.
Right.
Until we realize that, no, this is the gift that the universe has given me, and I need to do something with it. I mean, so many problems would be solved if people would learn how to communicate in relationships, interpersonal and work interpersonal relationships.
For sure. Well, look, kind of key. I mean, that's why we have language, right? And I mean, if we just started grunting and snorting at everybody again, use the intuitive, factors that we actually do have as well. But we just get into this, you said this, I said that type scenario, and it's
so deep. It's so much deeper than just that. There's all kinds of considerations, and people get entire PhDs in communication. It's not like we could have an hour-long conversation and then you'd be, well, I'm an excellent communicator now. Right. There's so much to it, and people just don't think about those other factors.
Yes.
But it's pretty simple when you boil it down.
Well, I guess the simple part is being authentic, right?
Yes.
Not trying to skirt around whatever you're really trying to say. I mean, authenticity is actually a higher vibration than love itself, which means that it's love unconditional. Because if you can be unconditionally loving to yourself and authentic, your communication skills, your ability to participate in life, everything is just right. Mm-hmm. So let's get into
the receiver of that communication has to know their role in not taking offense to something someone says, that they're being authentic and genuine, and more appreciate that they're giving them an authentic message, even if it's hard to hear.
Absolutely. And it's just their perspective, and every perspective is part of the whole. And it's like, if there's a ball sitting here or a bottle, I see this side, you see that side. it's perspective on everything.
Yep.
That's this whole division thing that's happening in the world is based on that. And it's like, no, we both see the bottle. It's clear. We're just looking at it from different lenses. That's it, So it's quite easy to have empathy when you realize that perspective is everything.
Right. And where your perspective comes from.
Right.
How you were raised, what you've been through, all of those things.
You're right. Yeah. I'm right. We're right. Nobody, we can't say
because of our perspectives. Yeah.
And our conditioning, like you just said, however we were raised, whatever we were raised in, how our morals and values were placed on us is how we're going to view it. And nobody's wrong. Nobody's right. We're all just kind of looking at it through our lens and then giving back. It's like the one source that we all came from. It's part of that. You are a beam of divine light from source itself. So am I.
Right. But it's not an excuse to stay exactly what you are from day one. You should still be, in my opinion, seeking to grow and learn and expand. Yeah.
Please.
Yes.
Self-awareness is key. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. From lens, your connection to Alpena is something that I want to dive back into, because part of this podcast is to understand what you love about it. What do you find unique about? What do you want to not see change about Alpena and Northeastern Michigan in general, I guess?
I would be devastated if the nature aspect was harmed in some drastic way. I understand there's going to be different utilizations of it, but I would be really devastated if it was, what's the song where, put up a parking lot? Yeah. I would be very devastated if we turned into this concrete jungle, massive building structure, got rid of a lot of our outdoor nature, all of those things, because that's what I really love about this area.
For sure.
It's no secret. A lot of people know I love to fish. And if I couldn't just go for an hour here, it takes me 2 minutes to get to water. Right. And that is phenomenal about this area. So to me, that's the number one thing that I never want to see change, maybe utilized differently, but still in that natural aspect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as development is inevitable, and we have 8 billion people on the planet now. As it's starting to infiltrate our area, we do need to, adopt some change. So what do you see as progressive and necessary for the area to grow and sustain economically and to sustain its resources, like you just stated? How do you?
Well, I'm not going to sit here and name we need this particular exact name brand business. A story that I mentioned this before, that I had a story. There were 2 people recently that were in Alpena from 2 different states. They all came to meet a friend here. And they said, this town is so cool because you don't see very many name brand things. They said, everywhere we go downtown, they're all unique little stores. And that's just so cool. And the restaurants, where do you want to go to eat for dinner? They'd ask each other and they didn't know what to say because they couldn't just name a common brand. And they love that. So I would love to see additional unique natural businesses that are locally owned, that are not, we need those businesses too. The world does.
Sure.
But I would love to see Alpena go down the path of having a lot more development in unique ways, local owned.
What I think is cool about what's happening here already is that we're keeping the box stores to the outside of town.
Yes.
And I think that's phenomenal. Keep your heart of your downtown, those small businesses, those, the American dream is sort of dead in a sense when it comes to I know from the Fresh Palate and having it for 15 years, I busted my ass on that thing and then realized I'm not going to be able to retire on this.
Right.
The American dream was, no, you bust your ass on it and then you can retire.
You can retire.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see that. And, that's ultimately why we're here today talking about it, is how do we make that a dream again? Because if that's the uniqueness that we have here, then we definitely need to build an economy on top of that. When I was a kid, there was more mom and pop grocery stores or convenience stores and those kind of things. And everybody supported their little neighborhood store. And I just think that needs to come back in a major way. Because let's revive the American dream. What is that? It's you can have your family and raise them and run your business and still feel like you're giving value back to your community.
How do we, because that's not just a Northeast Michigan or Alpena problem. It's the, corporations are driving that. How do we from Northeast Michigan like fight back, because it comes down to cost, where the reason you have all these brands is because it's cost effective to buy things in bulk. And this is simplifying the problem, but how does a local place compete with that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, that comes to one of my other questions is, how do you see a conscious community?
Yes.
And so what do you see as a conscious community?
Yeah. So
explain that. You can read.
I am a big proponent of conscious capitalism. And so that's less about community wide, but you can definitely apply it to whole community.
We're here.
Capitalism for a business is basically purpose beyond profit. So you're doing something, you're trying to solve a social issue through the power that you have in your doors every single day. Because where do most people spend the majority of their time? At work, with the same people for X number of hours, more than their own families.
Yeah.
And within those people, there are talents and competencies way beyond just what they're doing at the job. So how can you use that talent to solve bigger issues? And some common brands that people might hear of, is it Fred's Killer Bread? I think it's Fred's Killer Bread.
Communities?
Dave's, thank you. Yes, it's Fred. I don't know. There's also the Just Taste Carpet is another one. If you've ever seen that. Shoes, donate a pair, all those things. So they're all working on these big social problems, and people love those brands because part of it is because they have a great product, but also because they're giving back and solving some sort of problem. So if you expand that to a community, I think all businesses should do that. But what about a community? It's being very focused and strategic about who you are and what you want to be, and not allowing other things. And I'm not saying to a point where you discriminate against something else or someone else, but we are a natural, outdoor, whatever, haven for people, a slower pace of life, which I love.
Yeah.
And that's who we want to be. We don't want to necessarily invite but your products and brands in, or companies that are going to destroy that.
Right.
That to me is conscious community, conscious capitalism.
Yeah. I agree fully. Part of that conscious awareness is realizing that when you spend your money on those box names or brands, it doesn't stay within your community.
Right.
And just realizing your circulation of your money, what is really happening to it, is so important. And, and I think that's, as far as what I mean by conscious community and being able to bring back the American dream in general, is that we stop thinking just because it's a little cheaper on Amazon and it quickly comes to our door that we're going to just order it like that. Like, no, buy the damn bike from the bike shop downtown and help that guy.
Right.
He's supporting your community, your public schools, he's paying taxes, he's doing, that's a way different program than just giving it to Jeff Bezos.
Absolutely.
Nothing against Jeff. Like, I love it. But seriously, nice job, but also it did take away from that American dream. All that, the little bit of value that you see in saving a couple dollars does not save your community. No. It doesn't keep it like it is, like we're saying, resourceful, small, quaint. It starts to busy it up.
For people, the definition I gave from my perspective of conscious capitalism community, that fits into it.
Yeah.
It's everybody playing that card.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that, and I saw this, working at the chamber, is business owners and their employees have to provide the service that people want to keep coming to them. Yeah. So it can't just be, if we're going to do this and everyone's just going to come to me because I'm locally owned, then I can be a schmuck and not nice and not give good service. No, we all have to play what our role is in that.
Yeah.
But I totally agree that we're not doing our community any favors when we're shopping online and traveling out of town and to do all those things.
Well, then that's being a self-aware human that owns a business too. That, you're meaning well, you're trying your best, you're giving the best price that you possibly can, all those types of things. I know that because through running the Fresh Palate, like trying to keep organic food in and not make you pay $20 for a sandwich, even though margin wise, that's what it was supposed to be. I still sold it to you at 13 and I got a lot less, but that's fine. Way more about your health and the longevity of my community than I care about my pocketbook, and that's just being self-aware too. So thank you for that explanation. I want to dive back into sort of like who you are and your purpose on this planet. So like the value in general, what do you think Jackie came in as, your divine human that you chose to incarnate as? What is your purpose here?
I'm still figuring that out.
You know?
I do truly believe that I'm here to help other people have happier, more successful lives. And success doesn't have to mean money. It can be a lot of different things, but happiness. And I'm here to help people look at things differently without just shoving something in their face. Like, I love the columns that I write for the Alpena News. Like, I love writing them because people
They're great, by the way.
Thank you. People will look at them and they'll be, I didn't think about it that way, but you know, if someone else would have said something similar to me, it would have sounded rude, but you said it in such like a logical way. And I think that I have a gift of writing and communicating that I can use to help people kind of expand their minds and the way they think about things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So your impact that you want to leave on the world, and maybe even Alpena specifically, what's your overall impact that you want? What's your legacy?
I don't know, because I don't like to think about that part of my life. I mean, like when I'm gone, I don't like to think about that. But what do I really want people to remember Jackie as? Someone who was authentic, genuine, if that's the same thing, I don't know. So still kind and like a change agent. I think I would boil it down to those things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like it's a lot of impact.
Yeah. But I find that stuff fun.
Too. It's good.
Thank
you.
Yeah. So I'm not doing it to just because I want to be that. I'm doing it because it's fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purpose, you know, recognizing your community and the value in it. What is the benefit of fostering community collaboration and communication within a community? What do you see as the impacts and the necessity of that?
Help. I mean, we already said communication is the most important thing, or one of the most important things. And so I think that is key to a healthy community. Not just, here's my message, here's your message, and never actually talk about it, just throw it out there. I think there has to be actual conversation about things. And yes, we can disagree, but help me understand where you're coming from, or help me see it from a different perspective. And not just, I'm going to put this on social media and people can read it, and then we never actually discuss it. So I think we need to do more conversations, and they don't have to be structured, but just strike up a conversation with your neighbors. You know, I don't think we even do that anymore.
No.
And it's sad to me because I think there's so much value in that.
For sure. Like, check on her.
Yes.
Check on your neighbor. How are they? Have you not seen them outside in a couple of days?
Even know them? I mean,
right.
Yeah. It's sad. I think about when I was at the chamber and people will ask, like, what made you successful? And honestly, I would say a percentage of the success came from just showing up. Like, just being there to listen to people and have conversations.
To listen.
Yes. And it wasn't, you know, we could be on the golf course with, I'd jump in and golf with 3 people I didn't really know that well, but we had several hours to just have conversation.
Yeah.
I think is what made me successful in that role.
And I pointed out listening because it's so key. We're so apt to just hear and then be ready to respond right away, rather than just holding space.
Yes.
Give the people the space to just be authentic, be heard, be felt, be seen, you know? And I mean, that's ultimately why I'm making this platform and this podcast, is to first, like I said, allow you to be authentic, let people see who you really are. And then when they approach you on the street, it's not based on what they read on Facebook just before they've seen you. They have a different perspective to go like, you know what, maybe I do have something in common with her, or maybe I need some of her skill sets that like I could use, you know? So
I've offered many times to just sit down with people. So here's an example, what communication can do for the positive. So there was a guy that used to write horrendously terrible letters to the editor about me. And because I'd write a column and then he would hate it and write something nasty. So I found his email address for where he worked, and that was the only way I could find to get a hold of him. I sent him an email. We ended up becoming basically pen pals through email and friends. And we just talked through it. And I discovered why he was so angry toward me. And it really had little to do with me. Right. And we ended up having a pretty fun relationship, but he has since passed away. Yeah, I've saved so many of those emails. And it's like, that was just because of communication. It was just the ability to, and the to, and then actually doing it, just reaching out and saying, hey man, let's talk. Because there's something going on.
I have the same story. I mean, just with the fresh ballot, I had several people when I stood up for diversity and just inclusion and all that, and I mixed it with my business. Well, everybody thought that was just horrible, and I was like, okay,
but in God,
I had some threats, and like you, I just reached out to the people. I'm like, well, we should know each other before you just tell me you don't like me.
Right.
And yes, I became friends with all three of those people that really were hating on me.
Yeah.
I just invited them in, sat down with them, communication, perspective. Everybody's okay. We all want the same thing. Usually it's safety and people, the sense of belonging and heard, just to be heard, just to be felt, and just to say like, yeah, it's valid what you feel. And maybe I don't agree with it, but like, you're a real person. And I don't need to be just throwing you under the bus before I know you. So.
Exactly. I think I wrote a column about, not Fresh Palette specifically, but about politics in business and like some of the pitfalls that it leads to.
Oh, absolutely.
It can. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I lost several people that just were like, well, I can't agree with that. And I'm like, well, you could before you thought I stood up for it.
That's the thing. That's funny. Everyone wants the same thing at the end of the day. We all want, well, I think there's probably a few people that like truly do hate a certain person or whatever, which is ridiculous. But we all want to just live our lives and everyone to just be human. Like, let's just accept everybody and what they're good at and whatever. We all want that, but then we put labels on it and all of a sudden it becomes an issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You said something, the Stephen Covey quote that says, listen to understand, not to reply. That's, I think if people could learn to do that.
Say that quote again.
Listen to understand and not to reply.
Yeah.
So listen, truly be listening and not crafting your response as you're listening.
Because you're really trying to identify with their perception or their perspective on life so that we can find that common ground. If you're sitting there ready to jab back with your perspective or your opinion on it, you have not even done yourself or them justice to like find out how to meet in this empathetic space of I understand you, you understand me. We can now, even if we still don't agree, we can at least not hate each other. We can still move forward and be like, we're not in agreement, but whatever, I mean, like how many times you do that with people all the time? I mean, you might not agree with anything your children do or your parents do or whatever, but like you still love them.
Well, and there's going to be something that you agree on with everybody. You can find something you have in common.
For sure.
It, might not be politics. It might not be the big topics, but there's going to be something.
Like life itself. Like,
yeah, like you're both breathing air.
Pretty awesome that you're above ground right now. Sat down.
Absolutely. And I think all of this relates back to, what do we want for this community? Well, I think that if we had a community of people who, and I call it emotional intelligence, a lot of this is how I refer to it, but who were more self-aware, had greater emotional intelligence, I think we would have more people who understood the value of a conscious community and really embracing what makes us unique.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, so this podcast is about trying to look forward into the future and work towards these sustainable goals as a community built on everybody's perspective of where it should probably go. And so I think that's something that's been lost in life in general, stood up that 7-generation view of where are we heading? What is the vision? What is the goal? And, not to like diss Alpena, but I feel like it's kind of moved forward without that longevity goal. So, one of the things that I want to elicit out of everyone is, what do you see as a 7th generation, 150 years from now? What do you see as the goals for Alpena? What does it look like? And then how do we make that a vision that's possible?
Hard question because of technology and how it's going to change and how that's going to impact the world. Are we going to be all living in these weird little space bubbles and it's just going to be our new normal? So I would like to think, we could and we kind of went down this path a little bit when I was still at the chamber. The CVB was leading some of this, but the concept of like that place you go to relax, the perspective away from the storm of life, so you come here to relax. I would hope that we can maintain, I think that should be a big part of our identity. For sure. This chill place. You can come here to enjoy nature. You can come here to be energized, not like a week vacation at some all-inclusive where you're just going to party and but really, truly like get back to nature and calm, serenity, enjoy whatever recreational thing you want to do.
Your
I think that there's going to be communities that, because our world is so crazy, there are going to be communities that step out and lead that. And I would love to see Alpena as one of those leading communities well into the future.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's definitely my vision too. Just slow it down. Like life is just speeding up like you started. Like, where in the hell are we going to be in 150 years? Like 10 years. Where are we going to be in 10 years? Like, technology is insane right now. But I would hope, or my goal is sort of the same. Like, can we slow it down? Can we just hold it off for as long as possible? It was always my goal to be like this old man who didn't know how to use my cell phone. And like, I wanted to be that human. And you're obsolete if you do that now. Mm-hmm. You're gone. You're not even you're barely a human. You might as well just go live in Nepal. And
it doesn't sound so bad though, does it?
It doesn't sound bad. No, I'm fine with either way. But also I want to contribute and be part of a community too. Well, thank you, Jackie. I appreciate your views and your outlook on life, and just your self-awareness, your communication skills, the brightness that you bring to the future and to our community. It's beloved, and thank you so much for being who you are. Not to let we wrap up, could you, if you wouldn't mind, let anybody know where they can connect with you if you want to, or...
Okay, so a thought popped into my head. Back on the other topic.
Sure.
What I don't want, when I say the serene, calm, slower pace of life, I don't want people to step into Alpena and think this feels like the 1950s. Like, I still think manufacturers need to be on the cutting edge of all of those technologies and things. But when you're outside of work, the fact that you're 2 minutes from water, like, that should never go away. So you can still have that serenity and calmness and all that. So I wanted to clarify that. But like, how can people get a hold of me? So I have a website, JackieKrawczak.com. And I should have a contest because I am trying to figure out the right name for my business instead of just my first and last name.
Okay.
And I can't quite get like what I want that to be. So I've been working on that. But for now, it's Jackie Krawczak LLC. So JackieKrawczak.com.
Okay, so you heard that. That's the competition. So
yes.
In the comments, leave Jackie's business.
I will come up with a prize for the one that I ultimately pick. I don't know what that is right now, but I'll come up with one. Guys, also on Facebook, I really don't like social media. I think it has done a lot of bad things, but you almost have to be there.
You have to be.
So I'm on Facebook, my businesses, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter or X, Joey, whatever, really active on there. So I'm on those, and I don't mind people messaging me in any platform they find me.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We covered a lot of ground, and I appreciate everything that you said. Again, this podcast is about shining your authenticity. So is there any message or story or anything else that you'd like to share about yourself, or, a message you'd like to give to our community? Anything? This is your chance to shine. 10 years.
I don't know if I'm going to share is for me to shine, but I would hope it is like a motivational thing for people. I have been very open about my struggles with mental health and eating disorder. Made a tremendous amount of mistakes in my life. And I feel like talking about them has been so therapeutic for me. So I would encourage people that if any struggle that you have, anything you're going through, like, don't hide behind it. Just talk about it. There's no shame in anything. I've experienced with family and friends so many things, from addiction to depression to just horrible decisions. And we could do a whole podcast on Jackie's bad decisions.
Sure, me too.
Keep this stuff inside, and then they turn into these like heartbroken, sad people. And I don't want that for anybody. So I just would love to encourage people to embrace vulnerability and openness.
Beautiful.
It's been so helpful for me.
Yeah. Can I emphasize it in the masculine too?
Yeah.
Like the ones who have been told not to share their stuff and hold that inside. And
boys don't cry.
Yeah, of course. Why would you do that? And I don't mean to just say that on the masculine side. It's definitely feminine, masculine. What you just said is, if you harbor that inside, then how are you going to heal? Like, you can't heal without expressing yourself. That's what's part of being authentic. So thank you for sharing that, because that is a very important message. Like, who in the hell thinks that did it all right? Nobody has done it right. Everybody's had problems. We've gone through shit.
Right.
We need to talk about it, and we need to be authentic about it. So share with your friends, your family, find counseling, whatever it is.
And it would make us a less judgmental society. And it would also, every time we tell our stories, it helps someone else. because someone out there, I've had someone say some things to me before, like, so you just so openly talk about these things that you've been through. And I say, because if 200 people hear what I say and one person says that helped me, then I don't care about the other 199. I care about the one that I'm helping.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I just wish more people would be more vulnerable.
Well, I think by you expressing that now, you have just opened that channel to probably several other people who didn't think that that was possible. And,
Good.
Having two people that are, known in the community say like, hey, we're not perfect and we share this stuff vulnerably all the time.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not perfect by any means. So a journey of 45 years, and it's going to be a journey for the next 45 and the next 45 after that. I'm going that long.
Say hopefully at least 45, if not many more. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on Harbor Spaces today. It's been an honor having you here.
It's been fun
communicating with you and sharing your story.
Yeah,
You know where to get a hold of her. You know what the contest is. Comment on what her business should be called. It's about communication and authenticity. Those terms,
yes. Mental health.
Figure it out. So thank you for joining us. Until next time, have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk fun.